So hello Lococheros! For today's video, I will be having my sit-down vlog for my China travel. So I just came back from China and I'm finally here in the Philippines. So I'm very lucky to have been doing this sit-down vlog because China is my 11th country. So I also been to Vietnam, to Cambodia, to Laos, to Thailand, to Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, and of course Japan before I travel in China. So for today's video, I will be giving to you the tips and must-haves apps and all my personal observations for my China trip. So I think let's start. So first, I noticed with Chinese people, I can say this is my personal experience. So disclaimer guys, I can only speak on behalf of myself. With regards to friendliness, mostly of the locals, around 90%, they are not that much friendly. And with my point of reference is the Filipino people in the Philippines, that we are very warm. When we saw foreigner or strangers or anyone that is traveling in our home country, we used to greet them. But Chinese people are different and I do accept that and I do understand. So that's my personal observation when we got off the Shanghai Pudong International Airport. Firstly, the taxi driver did not greet anything or did not say anything all throughout our trip or our journey from the airport to our hotel. So that in itself, I can say that they are not really much into conversation and they are not much really that friendly. So that's just for me, Lacoteros, and that's my personal observation. Number two, in connection with being friendly, they are not that much fond of greetings. So like in the Philippines, we always say good morning, mabuhay, welcome to the Philippines, or hi, hello, how are you? But with Chinese people, most of them, 90%, I should say that they're not fond of greetings. So it's just as it is when you ride a taxi, you go inside and then the taxi driver drove you and then you goes down. So I think they're not much accustomed into greetings. Because recently, before China travel, I went to Japan as well, and people there are also very, they greet you that much and they're also very warm. Japanese people are very friendly. So I'm not comparing, this is just my personal observation. So number three, aside from that, is I can say that they are not much that welcoming. As Filipino who is known to be very hospitable and very welcoming to our guests, with Chinese locals, Chinese people, as in connection with being not friendly and being not much into greetings, so they are not that so much of a welcoming person. So I understand that Filipinos are very hospitable in connection with being friendly. You do greetings and very welcoming. When I traveled abroad, different countries, I just realized what is being hospitable really means. Because in the Philippines, we really love guests. We really used to welcome guests and greet them and show appreciation. But in other countries, they're not much that. So I can say that really Filipinos are hospitable. So next, my observation is they are not that so much disciplined when it comes to traffic. So I have been observing this a couple of times. We almost got hit many times now, almost. Because in the pedestrian, the motorcycles or the cars just passed by. Even if it's green light for pedestrian crossing, they just pass by, and people there are the ones who will adjust for the cars and the vehicles and the motorcycles. And in connection with that, me personally, I also observe a lot of people, Chinese people and even foreigners, who does jaywalking. So even if the red light is on, they cross the street. And then, sometimes also cars cross the street even if it's red light. And my point of reference is Japan, wherein Japanese people are very well disciplined, and that even if the crosswalk for the pedestrian is just 2 steps, they really wait for the green light to be turned on. And I haven't seen any jaywalkers in Japan. But in China, well, I do accept that and I do understand if that is what it is in their home country. Yeah, they does jaywalking a lot. So next is in terms of they're not following the line train that much. So I remember in my recent Japan trip, Japanese people really waited when the train safety door opens. They waited for the outgoing passengers to be outside before they go in. But in China, when the safety door of the train opens, the incoming passengers really rushed into it inside the train, and they didn't care if the outgoing passenger has already go out or not. So I think it's a first come first serve basis going inside the train. So that in itself, I was able to observe that they are not much that following the line train. Next to that is in reference to my recent Japan trip as well last year. I observed so many vending machines, a lot of vending machines in Japan, in train stations, public places. But in China, there are not much vending machines I saw. In my 2-3 weeks of China travel, maybe I've seen around 2-5 vending machines, and they're not really fond of vending machines, unlike Japan. Next, but the good thing is with China, there are a lot of garbage containers and trash cans. Whereas in Japan, you cannot see really garbage containers and trash cans on the street or on public places because you need to bring with you your trash. But in China, there's a lot of trash cans and garbage cans, which I am also amazed and I'm also thankful of, because every time we finish eating food or the drink, we can accessibly throw it on their garbage containers. Next, in terms of traffic in connection with that, they're also fun. Chinese people are also fond of using horns. So it kind of sends a signal of being noisy on the street when they use horns, prolonged use of horns, especially when the drivers are irate or when there's commotion on the road. So it's somewhat similar in the Philippines, where it's normal for us to use horns. Next, they're very persuasive, and I can connect this with the taxi drivers. So every time we got off in the airport, in Shanghai, in Beijing, in Zhangjiajie, in Chongqing, taxi drivers are very persuasive. They follow you all throughout and converse with you in Chinese, although we always tell them, no Chinese, speak English please. But they're very persuasive when it comes to riding a taxi. That's why we always use Didi. That's equivalent to our Grab car in the Philippines. And Lakoteros, at the end of this video, please watch out. I'll be sharing 3 important must-have apps that you should have before coming in China. So that's one thing. They're very persuasive and always they're following you until you're able to ride your book car. Next is, in terms of food, I can say it's a bit expensive for me. I'm speaking to myself. It's a bit expensive. At the same time, I wasn't really, to be honest, I really wasn't able to enjoy the Chinese food there. Precisely because I can taste, there's an aftertaste with the spices are very strong, the cumin, the thyme, and all other spices. It's very strong. And it's very evident in all of their food, like for example the ramen, the siomai, any food, braised pork, braised chicken, braised beef, even cookies. There is an aftertaste which I do not like, so which concluded me that I wasn't able to enjoy that much of the Chinese food. I can say that Chinese food in China, which is the authentic one, and the Chinese food in the Philippines is somewhat different in taste. Because in the Philippines, I'm really fond of eating Chinese food, like the wonton noodles, the siomai, and xiaolongbao, all of it. But in China, all their wonton noodles, the siomai, the xiaolongbao, and even the pork, the beef, and the chicken dishes, there is that particular or that uniformity of the strong odor and taste of the condiments or that particular spices and seasonings, which it leaves an aftertaste on my tongue, and which in the end I really wasn't able to enjoy it. Now we'll leave it as it is, since that's my personal observation. Now next is, this one is very critical because I went to China during winter season, and I observed really the strong odor of smoking, because I'm very sensitive to smell, and in China they're smoking everywhere. Chinese, foreigners, I think that's legal in public places to smoke. So I really wasn't able to, you know, enjoy in such places where smoking is rampant. Well, on my mind, I am really being able to, you know, to explain it that maybe because it's winter season and they needed something to make their body heat up, so that's why they're goes to smoking. But you know, I just can't, smell the odor of the smoke, the cigar, and the nicotine. And even if they're not smoking in the hotel, it sticks to their clothes and to their hair or to their hands. So I can really smell smoke everywhere. So that's one critical thing that I observed in China. Another critical thing is that Chinese people, locals, are fond of spitting everywhere. So it doesn't sit well with me, since for me, I take it as unhygienic. But I do accept that. I do understand their culture and tradition if that is as it is. So I leave it as it is. And if they're spitting everywhere, I just can't, take it watching people spitting everywhere. It's very unhygienic for me, but if that is what they're accustomed to and that is, they're used to it, so I do accept that and I don't have a problem with that at all. Now, next is the language barrier. We may see a language barrier as a common thing, but or not a serious problem, but when you are into that particular country and they don't speak English, it's really very hard to ask. It's really very hard to buy food. It's really very hard to, ask for directions or ask for particular prices. So it's very real in Chinese, because I think 80 to 90% of the locals, Chinese people, are non-English speaker, and that's why every time we ask English, we opt to go to the young professionals and the teenagers, since they are mostly accustomed to speaking English and they have better English as well. Next is when it comes to CCTV. As what I observed in China, every 1 kilometer, every corner in China, there is CCTV, guys. And by CCTV, I meant not only a CCTV, a normal CCTV, but a huge CCTV. And that's every corner, every 1 kilometer in China. So China is watching us. China is very particular with security, and which is a good thing, by the way, because they got to monitor every people, or be it locals or foreigners, their activities. You are being monitored. And I don't have problems with that at all. So next, what I can say on a lighter note, that the train station in China is very easy to navigate. That's one thing for sure, because I've been to South Korea, to Japan, and to every other countries. I find their train station very hard to navigate. You have to take note of the time, the line, the platform. But in China, it's very easy to navigate. We don't have any problems with that. And it's just in 2 days time of our China travel, we got used to their train station, so we weren't able to get lost in China. So that's one thing for sure. It's very easy to navigate, and it's very clean as well. Chinese train stations are very clean and very modern, because I can compare it with Japan, that Japan's train stations are clean as well, but there are train stations that is outdated, or the style is not that updated or modern, like the floor tiles are broken, or they are leaking on the sides. But in China, it's very clean, it's very modern, and I love it. Next is for the transportation. I can say that Chinese transportation is very affordable. I was able to ride a 10-kilometer distant ride for only 100 pesos equivalent. So it's very cheap and affordable when using the taxi or public transportation in China. Maybe because they have access on fuel, oil, and that the fare and the payment for the taxi and other public transportation, especially the train, it's very affordable. And so in terms of climate, I've been in China in winter season, so the temperature goes below freezing point, 0, -1, sometimes -4, -6. And I can see that it's very hard to navigate and it's very hard to move when it comes to winter season in China. So my realization is the Philippines has better climate still. We know we only have 2 seasons, the wet and the dry season, but winter season is very nice to hear, very nice to see when you are abroad, enjoying, having your vacations. But when you are living there day by day, I think it's very hard. It's really very hard to get up. And, you know, on my last few days in China, I caught a very bad fever, cough and colds because of the climate, of the cold weather. So I cannot imagine myself working in a particular, you know, climate, a very unforgiving climate. It's very cold. And one thing's for sure, the Philippines has a much better climate. And so I will now share also the 3 apps that's very important, must-have apps that you need to download on your phone before coming in here in China. So number 1 is the Alipay app. So you really have to download it via Apple Store, the Alipay app, and you connect your credit cards or your debit cards onto it, because in China, 90-100% of the merchants or the stores are really accepting cashless transactions. So you really need to scan your QR code or to scan their QR code and to pay. And for me, I find it very easy and very convenient to use. So Alipay is a must-have on your phone. Next is the Google Maps that is blocked in China and it does not work there. So what we did is, aside with the Google Maps, we use the apps. Apple Maps has no problem. It works well. It works just fine. So we use Apple Maps every time. There is one app in Chinese, which is the Baidu, but when we download it, it's all in Chinese language. So it's not that much important for us because we really can't understand Chinese. So, and we discovered that Apple Apps or Apple Maps is working. So Google Maps is blocked in China. Now, the next app, the 3rd app that you need to really download is the WeChat. It's important in communication with your hotel, or important with using Messenger, because if you're not using VPN, all other messaging apps were really blocked. And the 4th thing that I would like to share is to download the Didi app. So that's DIDI. That's the equivalent of the Grab car or the Grab taxi here in the Philippines. So it's very important to also download that app, because it's very helpful when you go or when you move from places to places other than using the train as your public transport. And so that's how my China travel goes. And all in all, I give China 10 over 10. I was really surprised. China is very nice. There's so much to see. There's so much to explore. And I was really surprised with the beauty of Shanghai, the beauty of Beijing, the beauty of Zhangjiajie, and of course, the mega city Chongqing. So with that 4 cities that I've been to in China, I was really surprised, and I can't wait to come back and to visit all other cities for me to experience different cultures and traditions of a particular city in China. So I'm very happy and very thankful to have been able to travel to China, and I can't wait to go back and see you all again on my next travel. That would be Dubai this September 25. Goodbye, Lakocheros. Thank you for watching.